Yo and hello, I got another RightStuff package for this manga haul. It's a good little box. I'm getting manga hauls. I'm getting books from RightStuff slightly more often, maybe. Um, so they're slightly smaller packages. I'm not going like super overboard, like maybe I would have been a while ago, where there were slightly bigger boxes and stuff. Because I figured it's if I order more books throughout the year, more maybe every 2 months or so, I get these larger stacks. I'll go to Barnes and Noble once in a while, pick up a single volume here or there, but I'll get slightly larger orders from RightStuff, slightly more frequently than medium-sized pickups, kind of. But yeah, let's get right into it. I got a few new things. I got a few things I'm really ready to catch up on. So let's dive right in. It looks like the first thing they put right on the top of the box is I got volume 13 of Vinland Saga. Now I can't even imagine it, like 13 volumes of Vinland Saga. These are big books and stuff, and they only come out like once a year, if that. Is probably still one of my favorite series ever. I'm really excited to catch up with it. So that's a really good one. Season 2 of the anime just came out. I think I was able to watch 4 episodes of it so far. It's really good. I like it. It's the farm section with when Thorfinn is on the slave on the farm and he meets Einar for the first time, and the stuff that happens there. And there's a few interesting plot points and characters, and it kind of rolls. It's more of a slow burn, but overall, like a lot of people will admit that like the farmland saga of the that's what kind of it's been colloquially called. That section of the story is a little bit of a slow burn, but it picks up at the end. It picks up. It's watching Thorfinn and Einar like work as hard as they did is really satisfying, and everything they go through along the way. And some of the characters in that section of the story are still some of the best characters in the show, so it still holds up. Like Einar is one of the best characters in the show, hands down. Like we see Thorfinn go through a little bit of character development in season 1, or the first section of the story. I think Askeladd is obviously like the best character in the entire show for the most part. Maybe Prince Canute, but Einar is really good character as well. So I don't really want to flip through this because I don't know what's happening. I think I peeked a little bit too much already. But volume 13 of Vinland Saga, I'm starting to see the ending is coming into play, and I'm wondering what's going to happen. So I wonder how much more gas this series has until it reaches its conclusion. But I think it's no matter what's going to be a really good ending. Second, I'm picking up My Dress Up Darling. So I've been reading a few more books and manga based on what my one of my friends is reading. So I pick up a lot of stuff that she's been reading recently. So because I'll order stuff for her, and I'll just get 2 volumes of that series. Let's say that's how I started reading Call of the Night, is because she wanted to get Call of the Night, so I ordered 2 volumes each, and so we're both kind of reading it. So this one's My Dress Up Darling. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm willing to read it. So let's see how that one goes. And something essentially like almost a must read now is that Way of the House Husband. I think Way of the Husband's really good. It's a good comedy. It's the comedy I'm willing to keep reading, just for the I don't even care if any story develops at all. It's just I just want serialized punchlines, jokes. What's that called when it's syndicated, like a comic strip where it's every week it's just another joke every week, or when you read the newspaper, there's it's another 4 panels of what you calls it. That's what I'm into this for. So it's not like I'm not wherever this goes, I'm good with. Another thing I'm reading is, and these are very fast reads, so I've been picking up multiple volumes and just kind of binging, and I'll probably, when I'm reading Nagatoro, don't toy with me, Mr. Nagatoro. I've been reading this. I've been usually reading 1 or 2 volumes at a pop. So I've been cruising through Nagatoro very quickly. I think I read the first 3, and then the next 3, and now I'm on volume 6. So yeah, Nagatoro is kind of like Way the House Husband. Is that it's one of those stories where I do wish the story develops, just keeps inching along. It's like Uzaki-chan, or there's a few series I've read over the course of my manga reading time, is that sometimes stories don't develop at all. They just kind of rehash stuff over and over again. And And as long as Miss Nagatoro is funny, I'm kind of fine with that too. But I still feel like it is actually inching along. We'll see how long it goes. A lot of times these series last a long time. Um, I would like to finish one of those stories out because there's always something like I forget the name of I forget the name of that manga. I don't think I have it actually anymore. Um, I think for me, I'm gonna pick one of those and keep scooting along with it, one or two maybe, where the plot developing isn't really the goal because the goal in manga is that the artist is trying to write chapters every week or every or whatever the pace is, and just keep pumping out manga, keep it popular, keep it going for a long time, and so obviously you can't have the story develop and change and conclude because now the authors are kind of out of a job. You know, like a lot of times, like the format is to keep the series running as long as possible, and so some people read series like Nagatoro Uzaki-chan, um, what's the other one I'm thinking of, and like the stories just keep going on, and they're made mainly to be comedies, rom coms, and stuff. That's why I liked reading and love Hina because it was in that rom com genre, but it seemed to develop in an interesting way where things kind of got more crazy as time went on, and then it finally had its conclusion. But it actually progresses, and as time goes on, that that actually has a very good conclusion. And it's not very long either. I think it was All of Love Hina is 14 volumes, so you can read that relatively quickly. I think it's very word dense. Ken Akamatsu actually writes a lot of dialogue. He packs a lot of punch in those pages, so it actually takes it takes a while to read through that 14 volumes, but it's 14 volumes and it's done. You can like I'm 6 volumes in eight volumes in the Domex Miss Nagatoro, and obviously it's nowhere close to being finished. Obviously, so you can kind of see like some of these stories they go on for a long time, and some people don't like that. But it seems like so far Miss Nagatoro it's very fast paced, so it doesn't take me long to read it, and it's also pretty funny, and I'm interested to see where it goes. So we can just put it at that. Another one I'm super interested in keep reading is Volume 2 Dan to Dan. So I'm probably gonna make another video on this because my last one actually is doing pretty well. I'll make another video like that where I talk about Volume 2. So yeah, Dan to Dan is actually really interesting. Or some guy criticized me for the pronunciation dan da dan dun dun dun. I think it's an onomatopoeia. It's a sound effect. So you go dun dun dun. That's it's just the name. Who cares? I don't think it matters. But Dan 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 is really interesting. So I'll probably make another video regarding to the Dan Dan Volume 2, and I'll keep going along because this is fresh off the presses. So this is a brand new book. And my new quest in life is definitely to keep marching through Berserk. I'm a couple volumes behind these two. I got them over there. I'm reading them. Berserk is exceptionally um, well done. So I am definitely past the part where pretty much most of the anime cover, which is the Band of the Hawk section of the story. Pretty much I'm done with the backstory. So now I'm actually into the post Band of the Hawk, post backstory section of Berserk. And we can finally see what's going on. So what I've read so far is that it's the elves in the mist, the Valley of the Mist or something. The elves there, and the girl that goes to the elves and she turned. I think she. I haven't. This is right where I'm at. So I'm thinking she got turned into an elf or and, but she had she seemed like she had the behemoth with her. So, and that probably caused some really crazy things. So she. That's as far as I got. I don't know what happens after that. I don't know what's going to happen when Berserk squares off with them, or when Guts squares off with them. But that's also the first storyline after the Band of the Hawk stuff. So Guts is on his own now. It looks like I think there was a time skip of 2 years. I don't know what's happening with Casca at this time because after Griffith betrays the Band of the Hawk, Casca and Guts survive. Casca is majorly mentally just destroyed by the events, and Guts goes on his quest, and he's just and I was like, I don't know if he has a clear cut goal right now. He's just wandering around. He's just the wandering Black Knight at this moment. So I'm going to keep reading Berserk. I'm going to see where it goes. Hopefully, like right now I'm kind of thinking, is it going to be an episodic thing where he's like monster of the week? You know, he's going to one town, sees a character, saves character. You know, he's not as grim as he was in the very beginning of the series yet. So there's probably more to happen. He's gotten. It seems like everything for like his equipment. So his arms cut off now. He's got his large sword now. He's got his was the Dragon Slayer. So he has everything that he had for equipment wise in the beginning of the series. But it doesn't seem like we've gotten to a point where we've seen him fight so far. Like, remember in the beginning where he's fighting and he's getting what would seemingly be mortally wounded, but he's just shaking it off like it's not killing him. I haven't seen what is actually causing that. It's probably the mark on his neck, but I don't know exactly what's keeping him from like being able to survive those fights that we saw him survive in the early bits of the story. So that's one thing I think is still open to get explained yet. So I'm very interested in keep reading Berserk. We'll see what happens with that. There's so much to talk about with Berserk. It's really hard to do so because I'm 17 volumes and I'm 16. I'm actually on volume like 14 like right now, I think. Like there's so much to digest. It's hard to. It's one of the things where you just have to read it yourself, and we talk about it and stuff like that. And next, I don't think what this is. Oh, no, this is it. This is the final thing. I got another omnibus of Nigma Master Magi Omnibus Volume 3. So this should be like 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be volumes 5 and 6 of the original of the manga. Yeah, like I said, I've technically read all this before. It was a very long time ago. I read all of Nigma in like one big long stretch. And like I said, Kaya Makamatsu, he writes a lot of dialogue. There's kind of stuff happening in most panels in the entire story. So like this looks like, you could, it was like 30 something. I think the whole series is like 48 or 38 volumes. And I've read up to like the volume 30. And it took me a very long time to do so back in the day. And that was probably close to 15 years ago when I read this. So it's worth a reread at this point. Technically I have read this all, and so maybe when I start reading it again, I've only dipped my toe into it in the first volume or so, but maybe the stuff will start coming back to me a bit more, because actually there's a lot of stuff that's a little fuzzy. Like I remember like big action sequences, I remember like big plot points that did happen. Like there's because at first they're in class and they're doing stuff, and then they go down, like they get lost underneath the school for a little bit, and then it turns into the plot is very good. Like I remember the plot being very good. The story develops in a very good way. The characters are very well written. There's one character, she's foreboding about stuff that happens on Mars in the future, and there's a big battle on the school grounds, like underneath the big tree and stuff like that, in the school grounds, and that might happen. That's probably not even happening by this point in the series yet. I probably mentioned this before, but the thing that's interesting about Nigma is that it wraps all sorts of sci-fi and fantasy all into one series, and so it's got everything from vampires to robots, this space travel, time travel, fantasy magic. It's got everything, and then the way it balances that out is really interesting and really well done. And there's been a lot of other manga I've read recently, but this is what's coming out of this RightStuff package. So I'll probably round up some more stuff and talk about some more few things here. So yeah, see you later in the next one. See ya.